Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Preeti Kaur. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh hosts Japanese counterpart General Nakatani for wide-ranging talks in New Delhi on Monday. Israel approves gradual expansion of Gaza offensive amid mounting pressure to secure hostage release. US President Donald Trump orders rebuilding and reopening of the notorious US prison Alcatraz. The tourist attraction off the coast of San Francisco will once again house most violent offenders. Donald Trump says he had some very good discussions about Russia and Ukraine over the weekend. Zelensky says ceasefire with Russia possible at any moment. And in sports, Norway's Casper Ruud beats 5th seed Jack Draper to lift Madrid Open 2025 title. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh today held bilateral meeting with Japanese counterpart General Nakatani in New Delhi. Both sides exchanged views and ideas on the current regional and international security situation and discussed ways to further deepen the bilateral defence cooperation. Earlier, the visiting Japanese dignitary laid wreath at the War Memorial. He was also accorded Guard of Honor. India and Japan share a long-term friendship which has further gained qualitative momentum after the elevation of this collaboration to special strategic and global partnership in 2014. Defence and security are important pillars of the ties between the two countries. This will be the second meeting between the two defence ministers within 6 months. Another incident of ceasefire violation was reported on the intervening night of 4th and 5th of May. Pakistani army posts resorted to unprovoked small arms fire across the line of control in areas opposite Kupwara, Baramulla, Poonch, Rajouri, Mendhar, Naushera, Sundarbani and Akhnur in Jammu and Kashmir. Indian army responded promptly and proportionately. Meanwhile, security forces on Sunday evening busted a terrorist hideout in Hari village of Surankot in Poonch district, recovering several improvised explosive devices and other incriminating material. The operation was jointly conducted by Indian Army and Jammu and Kashmir Police in Hari area of Surankot subdivision of Union Territories, Poonch district. Ahead of the operation, a cordon and search operation was launched by forces in Hari village, during which a hideout established in natural caves was busted. They said that 4 to 5 IEDs with different weights, some explosive content in powder form, communication devices, clothes and some other material has been recovered from the hideout. The recovered explosive material was also destroyed at the site by forces, said officials, adding that anti-terror operation is still going on in the area. In Jammu and Kashmir, a suspect named Imtiaz Ahmed Magre of village Tangimarg in district Kulgaon was picked up by police on 3rd May 2025. During interrogation, he confessed to providing food and logistics to terrorists hiding in Tangimarg forest. He also agreed to lead the security forces to the terrorist hideout. While leading a joint team of police and army to raid the spot, the man tried to escape and jumped into the Vishwa river, but he was swept away by the strong current and he drowned. The entire episode was captured on camera, which clearly shows him jumping into the river out of his own free will. A A solemn memorial took place at the Indian consulate in Toronto as members of the community gathered to remember the victims of the recent tragedy overseas. 26 innocent lives were lost in the terrorist attack in Pahalgam, India last month. Also, the Indian diaspora and Friends of India came together in Toronto to honor their memory and pray for peace. Tarun Paul has more on this.
In a quiet hall at the Consul General of India on Blue Street East, dozens of people stand with heads bowed. Their candles flicker in unison, each flame a tribute to a life lost thousands of kilometers away. The mood is heavy with grief and solidarity. It's been 10 days since a terror attack in the tourist town of Pahalgam claimed 26 innocent lives. And here in Toronto, the shock and sorrows are palpable.
Bharat Mata ki Jai! जोर से बोलो Bharat Mata ki Jai!
These victims, whose only crime was their pursuit for happiness, peace, and a better future, were senselessly and ruthlessly murdered. This heinous act was orchestrated by those who have long traded in blood and terror.
On behalf of all Canadians, we condemn this attack. This is a very cowardly terrorist attack. Innocent lives are lost. We are standing with all our Indian brothers, all our Indian families. We condemn this attack, and this is the worst cowardly act somebody can perform. We urge Indian and Canadian governments to work together to find these culprits and bring them to justice.
Community members and consulate officials observe a moment of silence. Some wipe away tears, others whisper prayers for the victims and their families. Friends from around the world gathered, standing shoulder to shoulder in support.
The tragedy which has been happened, it's the biggest tragedy, I would say, one of the biggest tragedy for the mankind. They shouldn't be done to any caste, creed, or anyone. We condemn this. And in future also, we pray to God that this doesn't happen on the land of India, and the land of Kashmir.
See, humanity is the biggest religion in the world. And when it comes to humanity, there are no boundaries, no borders. At the same time, as a diaspora, we feel very strong about the departed souls and their family. At the same time, we condemn them. Also, our appeal to not only to the government India, to the entire global world, that we should not take this type of terror attacks or this terrorist at ease.
The families are left behind. We stand with all of you. We pray for the peace of the souls gone, family to get strength, be more strengthened, and our country more stronger than before to come back. It's not something we dream of. Now they wanted. Families came for vacation. We'll see down the roads how a country stands to turn other people to understand. We are a loving country, a peaceful country, but we know how to revert.
This remembrance in Toronto is one of many around the world honoring the Pahalgam victims. The Indian diaspora here says that no matter the distance, their hearts are with the families affected. They vow to keep the memories, the 26 lives alive, and continue praying for peace. Reporting from Toronto, this is Tarun Paul Singh.
In Manipur, Indian Army and Assam Rifles formation under Spear Corps launched intelligence-based operations between 27th of April and 4th of May. The operation was carried out in coordination with Manipur Police, CRPF, BSF and ITBP in the hill and valley districts of Kakching, Tengnopal, Bishnupur and Kangpokpi. The operations resulted in capture of 17 cadres from the hill and valley-based groups and recovery of 31 weapons, 14 improvised explosive devices, grenades, ammunition and warlike stores. India's Finance and Corporate Affairs Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has arrived in Milan, Italy on Monday. The Finance Minister is leading the Indian delegation of officials from Department of Economic Affairs, Ministry of Finance to attend the 58th annual meeting of the Board of Governors of Asian Development Bank. The meetings will be attended by official delegations of the Board of Governors of the bank, official delegations of ADB, members and international financial institutions. The Union Finance Minister will participate in the annual meeting's focal events like the Governor's Business Session, Governor's Plenary Session, and as a panelist in the ADB Governor's Seminar on Cross-Border Collaboration for Future Resilience. On the sidelines of the ADB's 58th annual meeting, Sitharaman will also hold bilateral meetings with finance ministers of Italy, Japan and Bhutan, in addition to the meetings with the President of ADB, President of the International Fund for Agricultural Development and the Governor of Japan Bank for International Cooperation. The Union Finance Minister will also interact with the Indian diaspora in Milan, besides meeting global think tanks, business leaders and CEOs and participating in a plenary session of the next Milan Forum at the Bocconi University on balancing economic and climate resilience. Hyderabad, the capital of the southern Indian state of Telangana, is all set to host the 72nd edition of the Miss World pageant scheduled for May 31st. The event will take place at the High-Tech Exhibition Centre in Hyderabad and is expected to welcome delegates from over 120 countries, marking the second consecutive year that India will host the prestigious event. Rajiv Gandhi International Airport in Telangana has been rolled out. In fact, it has rolled out special arrangements to ensure traditional welcome to the international beauty queens. Dedicated lounges and help desks have been established at the airport to streamline the arrival process of the participants, with a significant increase in foreign representatives expected to commence on Monday. The Telangana Tourism Department is at the forefront of all the preparations, prominently featuring the slogan Telangana Zarur Aana, that means must visit Telangana, across all the welcome zones. The anticipation of the Miss World pageant in Hyderabad heightened with the arrival of the first international delegates. Jessica Scandiuzzi Pedroso, representing Brazil, and Emma Diana Catherine Morrison of Canada were among the initial beauty queens to land in the city. You're watching DD India News Hour. We are heading for a short break, but after the break, Trump announces 100% tariff for movies produced outside US. A boat capsizes in southwest China's Guizhou province, claiming 9 lives. Stay with us for more. Copacabana Beach in Rio de Janeiro breathed life as fans rejoiced at the free Lady Gaga concert.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy, always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the Economic Brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India Live. In a latest move, the Israeli Security Cabinet, led by country's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, has approved a gradual expansion of the military offensive against Hamas in Gaza. This development comes amid heightened tensions and a significant military build-up, with tens of thousands of reservists being called up to intensify the operation. The Israeli army aims to destroy Hamas infrastructure both above and below the ground, while increasing pressure to secure the return of the hostages. Meanwhile, a new plan for aid distribution in Gaza has also been approved, although the timing of aid delivery remains unclear. Iran has meanwhile warned that it will strike back if US or Israel attacked. Israel's Defense Minister Aziz Nazirzadeh said on Sunday that Tehran would strike back if the United States or Israel attacked. His comments came after Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu vowed to retaliate against Iran for Houthi group firing a missile that landed near Israel's main airport. Echoing Iran's official stance, Nazirzadeh said that Houthis act upon their own motivation. The Iranian defense minister also said that Iran has no hostility towards neighboring countries, but in case of an attack, the US bases located in the region will be considered targets by Tehran. Meanwhile, Iran has unveiled a new solid-fuel ballistic missile on Sunday, terming it Iran's latest defense achievement. Iran's state television reports that the solid-propellant Qasem-Basir ballistic missile has a range of at least 1,200 kilometers. The new missile was shown after Tehran and Washington held Oman-mediated talks on Iran's nuclear program on 3 consecutive Saturdays from April 12th. Iran has ruled out discussions with Washington on its military and defense capabilities, including its ballistic missile program. US President Donald Trump has announced a 100% tariff on foreign-made films, aiming to revive America's dwindling film industry. Trump claims foreign productions are a national security threat and diverts American filmmakers abroad with lucrative incentives. DD India's Antara Sinha gets us more on this.
In a move that's sending shockwaves through Hollywood and beyond, US President Donald Trump announced Sunday that he is ordering sweeping new tariffs on all films produced outside of the United States. Taking to his Truth Social platform, Trump declared a 100% tariff on foreign-made movies, citing what he called a devastating trend of American studios filming abroad. The movie industry in America is dying a very fast death, he wrote, adding, other countries are offering all sorts of incentives to draw our filmmakers and studios away. Trump characterized the situation as a threat not only to American culture but to national security itself. He directed the Department of Commerce and the United States Trade Representative to immediately begin implementing the measure. This comes just weeks after China announced it would cut back on the number of American films allowed into its domestic market. Protests have erupted in Los Angeles and Cannes alike, with critics calling the tariffs a blow to artistic collaboration and global cinema. As the world watches, the future of international cinema and America's role in it hangs in the balance. With little detail yet available and no clear implementation timeline, the film industry finds itself in a dramatic cliffhanger worthy of the big screen itself. Antara Sinha for DD India.
It was once America's most feared prison, and now it could return to that role. President Donald Trump has unveiled a plan to rebuild and reopen Alcatraz Federal Penitentiary. Let's take a look at this detailed report.
Rising from the waters of San Francisco Bay, Alcatraz Island was one of a dreaded prison surrounded by water on all sides. It is known today as a place of history turned a tourist destination. Now the island is all set to return to mean role as US President Donald Trump has directed officials to rebuild and open. US President Trump declared his intention to transform the site into a high-security facility for housing the most ruthless and violent offenders in the country. Trump added that the expanded Alcatraz would serve as a symbol of law, order, and justice. Located 2 kilometers off the coast of San Francisco and with a capacity of just 336 prisoners, it was once home to notorious criminals like Al Capone and George Machine Gun Kelly. Alcatraz closed in 1963. It has been a national park for decades until now. According to the Bureau of Prisons, Alcatraz was closed because it was too expensive to operate. When the prison closed in 1963, it was estimated that upwards of $5 million was needed to restore and maintain the prison. Over 1 million visitors come here each year. The announcement comes at a time when Trump has been in a public clash with the courts as his government sent alleged Venezuelan gang members to a prison in El Salvador. Bureau Report, DD India.
US President Donald Trump has said on Sunday that he and his advisors had some good discussions about Russia and Ukraine in the recent days without elaborating. Speaking to reporters as he returned to the White House after a weekend in Florida, Trump was asked whether he planned to meet Russian President Vladimir Putin in Saudi Arabia when he travels there later this month. He said he had not thought about this, but had some very good discussions about Russia and Ukraine in recent days.
We've had some good conversations on Russia and Ukraine over the weekend, over the last few days actually, but we've had some very good conversations on Russia and Ukraine. There's a lot of hatred there, I will tell you, between the two parties and between even the generals. I mean, there's a tremendous amount of hatred, but we've had some very good discussions over the last few days.
Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese said on Monday that he had a warm conversation with US President Donald Trump on tariffs and the AUKUS Defence Pact after his centre-left Labour Party decisively beat the Conservatives in a weekend election. Albanese said during a media briefing that they talked about how AUKUS and tariffs will continue to engage. The two leaders will engage with each other on a face-to-face basis at some time in the future. Albanese also thanked Trump for reaching out in such a positive way. He returned to office for a second term in a stunning comeback against the Conservative Liberal National Coalition, which was ahead in polls as recently as February. US President Donald Trump shared on Sunday that the US is engaged in ongoing trade discussions with multiple countries, including China. While the president emphasized that securing a fair deal with China remains a top priority, he confirmed that he would not be speaking with Chinese President Xi Jinping this week. Instead, US officials are in active talks with their Chinese counterparts on various trade matters. When asked if any new trade agreement would be announced during the week, Trump left the door open, stating that it very well could be, however, refrained from providing specifics. The comments come amid heightened tensions over trade imbalances and tariffs between the two global economic powers.
China and our people are talking about different things. Every country, almost without fail, friend and foe, has been ripping us off for years. So we're meeting with almost all of them, including China. And at the end, I'm setting the deal.
And now to get you more clarity, let's take a look at the US-China tariff war. The US-China tariff conflict intensified beginning in February 2025, with President Trump imposing 10% tariffs on Chinese imports and 25% tariffs on goods from Mexico and Canada. China retaliated, particularly targeting US coal, LNG and oil. Trump escalated the situation by adding 25% tariffs on steel and aluminium and further increasing tariffs on Chinese and other foreign goods in March. China responded with tariffs on US agricultural products and a 45% surcharge on US steel. In April, Trump raised the tariffs even further, imposing up to 84% on Chinese goods and threatening 50% tariffs, while China retaliated with its own sharp tariff hikes. By mid-April, the US had raised tariffs on Chinese imports to at least 145%. In May, the US eliminated the de minimis exemption on low-value Chinese goods, imposing hefty duties. Despite the escalating tensions, Trump called for a fair trade deal, noting that negotiations with China were ongoing. Ten people have died and 70 were hospitalized after strong winds caused boats carrying tourists to capsize at a scenic spot in southwestern China. The passenger boats overturned on Sunday afternoon on a river in Jiangxi City, Gaza province, sending 84 people into waters. As of Monday afternoon, 10 were dead, 70 have been hospitalized and 4 were unharmed. Chinese President Xi Jinping urged all-out efforts in the search and rescue operations and treatment of those injured. Sunday's incident comes just over 2 months after 11 people were killed in a boat collision in central China. More than 1.6 million people attended a free Lady Gaga concert at the Copacabana beach in Rio de Janeiro on Saturday. The 2016 Olympic host city is hosting large-scale free events featuring global stars as a way of filling hotels and restaurants that have been struggling in recent years with an economic and public security crisis. Madonna's show on the same beach a year ago attracted 1.6 million people from all over Brazil and was the biggest live performance of her decades-long career. On to sports now. Norway's Casper Ruud won his first Masters 1000 title on Sunday as he secured victory over 5th seed Jack Draper in the Madrid Open final. Ruud displayed gutsy performance as he stormed to a 7-5, 3-6, 6-4 victory over Jack Draper that really showcased his clay court mettle. Ruud has previously reached 3 Grand Slam finals, including 2 at Roland Garros, Masters 1000 finals in Miami in 2022 and Monte Carlo last year. That's it in this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those of you on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. This app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. You can download the respective QR codes. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Preeti Kaur signing off, and from all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India Live.